Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the I'll Try That podcast. This week we are trying Bacchus beer, cherry-flavoured beer from Belgium.
Yeah, I like cherries, and I like beer.
It's too early for that.
Sounds like a match made in heaven. And I guess before I jump on to Drabba's for his hot topper.
Chance would be a fine thing.
Barber, tell us all about how you've been sunning yourself while we've been freezing our nuts off in the UK right now.
Oh, what? Yeah, because I've been to Antigua. Yeah. It's funny because lots of people don't want to hear that I've been to Antigua and I've been sat in the sunshine while back here in Blighty it's been like -5 and snowing and stuff. But yeah, I had a wonderful time. Thank you very much.
Did you go jet skiing?
Didn't go jet skiing, no. Went out on a catamaran, that was a good laugh.
Oh, catamarans are fun. They're fast as well.
Yeah.
I'm qualified to sail one of those.
Went up to Shirley Heights, which has got a cool little barbecue thing, and there's a view over a harbour and sunset and all that's nice, and ate ribs. Did drink some beer, but actually I kind of a lot of rum, as you might expect as well.
Yes, I was going to say you got your rum fill, but what was the local beer kind of tipple?
Oh, I meant to even do a post actually. Carib was on the case.
Yes, Carib Brewery.
Carib, yeah, which I think is not Antigua, but
Jamaica.
No, I didn't think it could be, but I thought it was actually one of the other islands in the Caribbean that has completely escaped me, which is real helpful. Bear with me, and I'll
St. Kitts and Nevis.
St. Kitts and Nevis, Nevis, where
Nevis,
Kim Collins, the sprinter, was
Grenada.
from.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So that was good, and actually we went up to, and we did a lengthy episode on this other particular beer, but I did feel that was kind of sacrilege when we went up to Shirley Heights. Like, that was the beer that was available, and I get that people have rum punch or dark and stormy rum and ginger beer.
Yeah.
I love a dark.
But
and stormy.
there were loads of people up there drinking Sol. Not Sol. Sorry, no, not Sol. What am I on about?
I was going to say not Sol.
Bloody, Corona Extra. And you can't.
Oh, was Vin Diesel there?
No. Thankfully, no, he wasn't. No, to be honest, that kind of would have. Yeah, I'd have been interested if he was. But yeah, it's just a bit like Corona. I know it's that kind of like sunny day beer, but like, you got to have local stuff, haven't you, when you're there?
Were they with their family?
Oh, this was loads of people. There was like.
Did that joke go over your head?
Oh, that's a flipping heck. That's a Fast and Furious reference, isn't it? There's lots of people jumping cars over other cars and shooting guns at each other for no reason as well. But yeah, all in all,
sounds like you had a ruddy good time.
Yeah, I'll do us a little social media post on that if you like, and there may even be one of because also don't get too jealous and impressed or anything, but I'm quite the jet setter. Before I was in Antigua, I went to Finland. What was the Kahu? I was thinking about getting some Kahu actually for you guys, which is translates as it's the word for bear. I think I was drinking Kahu in a hot tub in very cold weather as well.
So
do you know
where Kahu comes from? I actually worked on Kahu for a while.
Oh really? Oh, Joe, I'm sure you and I have talked about Kahu because isn't there a Kahu whiskey?
There's a Kahu whiskey, yeah. No, but the Kahu beer we're talking about is actually from Finland. It's part of the Carlsberg group, Honsebrouck, and it's one of their number one beers outside of Koff, which is their Budweiser. Yeah. And Kahu is their like beer, their bear beer, which is fantastic. It's got such a good like cult following, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's everywhere out there, and I took to it very quickly. So good travels and good beers on my travels.
But yeah, so nothing better than a beer in a hot tub. I remember, Drabbers, you and I having some beers in a hot tub sauna situation in Austria. Or was it Austria?
It was Bulgaria.
Bulgaria, that's it.
In a sauna and a hot tub, and somebody didn't fare too well.
I would say don't drink beer in a sauna. That is the wrong situation to be in. That was too dry.
I think we'd better make sure if this goes any further, we get the censored version. I can put that out.
Right, okay. Talking about censored, let's move on to Drabbers. You're going to censor us with some hot topic, aren't you?
Yes. So, as usual, I've done my usual Googling to find us some up-to-date beer news, and this was 23 hours ago that this bit of
hot
beer
off the
news,
press.
hot off the press. So, do you guys watch Netflix?
What's that?
Yes.
I've been known
So
to.
you guys watch Netflix. Have you watched the new big documentary that's circulating? The new royal wedding, not royal wedding, the Harry and
Meghan.
Harry and Meghan.
Oh,
Harry and
yeah.
Meghan.
It's only everything everyone's talking about.
Yeah, have you guys watched any of it?
No.
My wife has.
Your
I
wife,
think that's
yeah.
the target audience.
Your wife.
It's specifically made for her. Yes.
So I've not watched any of it because it really doesn't interest me. But
You're not the target
This is a great
audience.
start.
I'm really
Just
not the
Liz.
target audience. It's yeah.
Great start to a hot topic as well.
But a pub in West London has currently launched a new beverage, a new beer onto its taps called Harry's Bitter.
Oh, I see. Taking it to a topical place.
Yeah, which
There you go.
which I quite like. Which is basically into response because supposedly he had a big argument with his brother. Is that William? A big argument with his brother, and now they're splashing it all over Netflix in their tell-all many-part documentary.
Well, that's what happens when you kind of give up any kind of financial stipend from the government, from the royal family, and you need to find money your own way, and you don't have any. Apart from being able to find he can fly an Apache helicopter, so I'll give Prince Harry or Harry a lot of that because that is fantastic. That is not something everyone can do, but yeah, he needs to find some ways of making some revenue, doesn't he?
Is there much need for an Apache helicopter driver in day-to-day life?
No, in day-to-day life, of course.
He doesn't use it to go down the shops. He did tours of Afghanistan, didn't he? So
Yeah.
is it true
Yeah.
that this again for one of the spin-off podcasts? Is it true about Apache helicopter pilots? Some of them being able to move their eyeballs independently.
What?
I'm thinking by your reaction, it's probably not actually. But I'm sure I've heard that before.
I generally thought you were joking. I don't.
Yeah. What? Why would they
What do
need
you
to
mean?
move their eyeballs independently?
I thought there might have been, maybe it was purely, because so they can look in different directions at the same time. And
They're not chameleons.
I might be mixing
They're
it up
not
with,
lizards.
I'm sure also I'd heard something about, there was a bit of technology about the guns on an Apache helicopter that can actually track the eye movements of the pilot. And I think it was maybe the idea that if they're looking forward with one eye, they can go and identify It sounds a bit far-fetched, doesn't it?
Apaches have two people. They have a co-pilot as well. So maybe one of them does the gunner, which is the co-pilot.
Yeah, and he just sits there looking his eyes around.
Looking around. That would make more sense than a pilot who's got eyes to go in different directions.
No, but what if he's got more than one target? He might be in a target-rich environment, and he goes, 11 o'clock, and he's like, oh no, we're running late.
And 3.
Yeah. I just don't think... Are Apaches used for warfare? I'm pretty sure they're just for transportation, aren't they?
No, Apaches...
No, you're thinking of Hercules, the big one, the big transport
am I thinking of the wrong one?
Or Chinooks. They're like a...
Chinooks,
Chinooks,
yeah.
that's what I was thinking of,
yeah.
Chinooks, yeah. I now get the Apache, but yeah, I don't think they can move their eyes about.
I'm pretty sure you might be right. Anyway,
I want to believe that they can move their eyes around.
less chopper talk. Anyway, that's a whole other podcast as well. But so, are you telling me there's a beer named after Harry and Meghan's? Is it called Hexit because they left the royal family or something like that?
Oh, brilliant!
Totally imagine that there's some people like the beer massively divides opinion, and there's some people who go, "Yeah, it's the greatest beer ever in the world." And they go, "No, that beer's an affront to the royal family. We hate it. Boo!" And neither party ever changed their mind about it.
Oh, it's a bitter, so it's probably going to taste a bit naff anyway.
Oh, don't let's not fight. Not this early. Why are you trying to...
You guys were on such good terms.
This is like the first one of the evening as well. We're less than half an hour in, and you come here with that trash. Outrageous. But it's just available.
It does strike me as a marketing opportunity. This pub, if you're saying it's a pub who can brew their own beer, they've clearly jumped on it and they've seen a marketing opportunity. And well, fair play to them because they're making headlines right now.
Yeah,
A brewery, a pub or pub brewery, whatever you want to call it, at this, you know, that usually wouldn't fit on the national level.
No, yeah.
Well done.
It's also quite like leveled that, isn't it? Because presumably they're doing it as a critique of Harry and Meghan, and they think that Harry and Meghan have made the most of a marketing opportunity, don't they? But there's layers to this joke.
I'll tell you what. I'll watch the documentary, and then I'll make my own mind up about the beer.
Well, I was going to say this pub is definitely putting its line in the sand. They definitely think that Harry's bitter, so you know they've definitely said a royalist slant on this.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to watch the whole series, Drabbers, and come back to us with an informed perspective on where you think they've landed.
I will have a pen and paper with me whilst watching it to make notes as well, and then we'll just dedicate an episode of the podcast to it.
So, no, I will be doing absolutely anything apart from watching that documentary. Actually, not quite anything.
Shall we get our cherry beer on?
Yeah, I've already drunk a lot of it.
Yeah, I'm almost through my cherry beer. This has gone down incredibly well, hasn't it?
It's gone down too well.
So we're talking about Bacchus, which is a beer named after a Roman god. Isn't that right, Barbara?
It is. Bacchus is... But, like, I don't really necessarily think they had a beer god, did they? But Bacchus is the wine god of wine. I'm sure I've been into a couple of bars in the past which were called Bacchus, but they're normally sort of those kind of more alchemist style. I think they would do wine, but also lots of different fancy drinks as well. It certainly looks like wine. I'm going to put that out there, apart from the slightly foamy top. Bacchus is the god of wine, and isn't there loads of folklore and quite interesting stories about Bacchus, which I guess is in the realms of myth and legend. And I think is it a little bit about excess and getting a bit loose. Yeah,
basically, I think he's the god of basically good times. Finding a bit more about Bacchus, is Roman god, but he's obviously come from a Greek kind of starting point, because most Roman gods came from a Greek kind of like god styling. Dionysus, I think it was called. But yeah, so Bacchus is the god of agriculture and wine. He was born of Zeus and a mortal woman, so he's the only god who had a mortal mother. Yeah, there you go. So, sorry, it was Zeus, which is Jupiter in the Roman terms. Greek for Zeus.
Yeah, Zeus really put it about a bit, I think, didn't he, as well?
Yeah, that's what we know about Zeus. He definitely got it around.
If you were moving around back when Zeus was in town, yeah, he was up on you, wasn't he?
Didn't Hercules have a human mother, or is that me?
Yeah, I think he was a demigod, wasn't he, Hercules? Yeah.
Demigod.
Apparently he was the only god that was, maybe it was the demigod, and maybe Hercules' dad was the mortal. Because this just says that Bacchus was the only god born to a mortal mother. So maybe it was the other way around, and Hercules' mum was the. Yeah, that's right. Hercules' mum was the god.
Was it? I thought it was Zeus was his dad.
I don't know. I don't know, if I'm quite honest.
I'll stop digging into it.
I'm pretty sure none of them existed as well.
Okay. But, okay, so the link between, I think, why this beer, it's a cherry beer, and why it's named Bacchus is because it's in a half champagne bottle. That is what this bottle is called. It's called a half champagne bottle.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean,
okay.
That's what you find out only once you've ripped through the paper bag.
This is talk to us about the paper bag.
I mean, it's one of a kind thing, isn't it? It's basically in a brown paper bag. The bottle. There's no markings on the green bottle underneath. It is all in. I mean, it's a paper bag as a label. I mean, to be fair,
it's wild, isn't it? I've never seen another beer like this before.
I think it's completely unique.
It's great.
Yeah,
I think, Joe, as in marketing, would that be a cheaper option to print it on paper than wrap it?
Yeah, it is cheaper for sure. I mean, it's also very recyclable from a sustainability point of view. The fact that you've got two distinct recyclable pieces that can be separated from each other, that's great. I guess from my side, from a marketing perspective, it's, remove the paper bag, and this bottle is just a random bottle with some cherry-looking liquid inside.
Yeah.
That's my only issue, is that if someone were to remove the bag from said bottle, you've got no idea what this liquid is or who makes it. Or so from a branding perspective, I don't like that. I would love to have something on the bottle itself, like an embossing. We've talked about bottles that have got some sort of decoration on or whatever that makes it very like, oh, that is that person's bottle. Whereas this is just, from my perspective, is just a green half champagne bottle. This is not recognisable in any way, shape or form to be from part of this Bacchus beer, right?
Yeah.
With you, yeah. Although I'm looking,
I get that.
I'm looking on the paper bag, and I didn't realise you can taste it, but 15% of the bottle is cherries. I mean, in liquid form, of course.
Well, in all honesty, I thought it would be more. With the taste that's coming through, I thought it would be more cherries than 15% cherries.
Yeah.
No,
I really like it. Honestly, I really like it.
But I really like it as well. But it doesn't feel like a beer.
I was kind of going to agree with you on that. It's not beer, is it? I mean,
it's not beer.
But it's not.
It's really, really tasty, and I think it's fantastic. And if you don't like beer, but you want to get into beer, this isn't the beer for you.
So apparently this beer is it's made by the Van Honsebrouck from Ingelmunster in Belgium. So it's Flanders in Belgium. Mm-hmm. And so these beers are based on their famed red style beer that's very popular in the local area. So it is a light and refreshing with a spritzy tartness. So apparently they add this cherry fruit to give it this kind of intensely fruity beer. But, it isn't like your average beer. This is like a different style of beer that's this kind of like fizzy, like fruity kind of number.
It really doesn't, it doesn't betray itself in terms of letting you know it's 5.8% as well.
Yeah.
Which is quite robust.
It's quite punchy, yeah.
Yeah.
That is robust, for sure.
And this is one of there are three types of this type of beer, isn't there? Because this is the cherry, and I think is it a raspberry as well. And I can't remember.
They've got a Flemish Old Brown. They've got a Flemish Old Brown as well, a cherry and a raspberry. Mm-hmm. Which I'd love to try a Flemish Old Brown. I can't say I've ever had one before.
I don't even know
what is a Flemish?
Well, it's the area, isn't it?
It's a great question. Yeah.
And it's actually, because it's all of the actual detail of being able to define it is very difficult. But also part of Belgium, some people in Belgium speak Flemish, don't they? So it's actually kind of an area, I suppose, isn't it? Or it's where people are from if they're Flemish. And I think it's not lasted beyond, the borders that we basically got today.
Do you want to know a bit more about the Flemish Old Brown?
Definitely.
I do want to know a bit because I am just getting phlegm. And that's I've just kind of locked onto that. The worst part.
It's not someone's gobbed in the beer.
I'm just locked on phlegm at the moment. And
so I'm going to read out a couple of tidbits from the website. So Bacchus Old Bruin, which is the Flemish Old Brown, tends towards wine in terms of taste and surprises, with a nice balance between sweet and sour. The acidity is less pronounced than with other Flemish red brown beers, resulting in a pleasant aftertaste. Due to the use of roasted malts, a light caramel touch can also be tasted. A spicy refresher full of character and history, that's the Bacchus Old Bruin. Now, they have 4 kind of key kind of like taste palette things that they're kind of like basing this beer on. So they're saying sweet, it's about a 40% out of 100, obviously. Bitter, they're saying it's 40% out of 100. Fullness, also a 40% out of 100. Whereas topping 60% out of 100 is pickles.
just pickles.
Pickles, they are 60%.
I'm really confused.
Also, the math doesn't work out, does it?
So it's so those you can't have 40%
I'm not a mathematician.
40. Yeah, it's basically so I'm really struggling with this. It's like on a scale of 1 to 10 that they've called it 100%, haven't they? It's not the taste components of the bottle. I think they've had too many if they're doing that. So
but they've got 60% of pickles.
100%.
Is it just
pickles?
Is it just really briny?
I don't know.
Someone once described to me pickles as being wet, crunchy bogies. Like, I can't deal with that. That's awful. That's really put me off.
So, what I love about this, so taking a step back from the Flemish brown, old brown,
which I think we've sold incredibly well.
So this Van Honsebrouck brewery is actually called Castle Brewery Van Honsebrouck. So I want to see a photo of this because I'm picturing a castle with a brewery inside.
So
it.
wait,
I don't want you to be too badly let down when you see it.
Yeah, I can also probably help out with this, Joe, because the brewery originally sits on basically has a long storied history. So it was the site of the St. Joseph Brewery, but the current building dates back to 1973. And the cellars are the only thing that survived when the English, French and Spanish soldiers raided the village centuries before.
Ah.
So I don't think it actually exists anymore, but it was named after.
You can see the building that's there now, and don't expect a portcullis or a moat or anything. It's a little more up to date now.
But
yeah, well, it makes sense given that there were invading armies destroying the whole area by the sound of things.
But the cellars are still there, so you've got some castle cellars.
There you go.
There we go.
It does show a degree of heartlessness to plunder and destroy a brewery, doesn't it?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Who are you helping here? Oh yeah, no, I was just going to say though, but equally that I'm quite interested to. I think almost that the brewery, because I've been thinking we're doing the Bacchus brewery as our pursuit of hoppiness today, whereas actually Bacchus is a product of the Castile Brewery Van Honsebrouck. What looks to be like their flagship beer is the Filou, which I think is possibly one that. It's obviously one that they do that doesn't maybe export so well, but then I think probably in the local area is the flagship beer, which actually I'm remiss. I've not told you the exact details of it, but it looks like your traditional sort of lagery kind of beer.
Okay, so there's obviously quite a few other beers that they've got.
Yeah, loads.
Under their wings.
Castile, named after. I'm not sure on my pronunciation there, but Castile and Castile Nitro. But Filou, no, sorry, it's that kind of golden look, but it's actually a strong blonde, and it's 8.5%. So it's in that kind of looks a little bit. I'm looking at the bottle, and it's that kind of stubby one that puts me in mind of Deville. Was it Deville?
Duvel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, possibly Le Chouffe, which I think we might be doing something on soon.
Oh, Le Chouffe. Yes, good dropping of the Le Chouffe.
That's it, a little teaser for next time.
Check back for more Le Chouffe later. Last thoughts on Bacchus. I think I agree with you, gents. As a Belgian beer, cherry beer, it's very distinctive. There isn't anything else that I've had that's like it. It's not something that I would go, let's go grab a whole crate. I don't think you can probably buy them in a crate. You have to get single bottles at a time because of how little volume they probably do here in the UK. It's not one for kind of sipping around with friends. It's definitely you just are quite up for something a bit different.
It's a one-off beer, isn't it? Yeah, in my head, it's only, used to be able to get it from very specialist beer shops or pubs that had a big range of stuff. That's the only places I'd seen it before, but it is now, presumably because I think the whole world is catching up with having more beers on their shelves, particularly supermarkets and that sort of thing. But we all managed to get this from Tesco, didn't we?
I think it's been in Tesco a fair time, actually.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I've had Bacchus a few times from Tesco over the years.
Sorry.
So I've maybe done a bit of a faux pas here. I have fully taken off the paper from my bottle.
Whereas it
looks on their Instagram, you should be just taking the top off just to get the... Yes, exactly like you gents are doing. I've fully stripped mine naked, whereas I feel like you're just meant to take the top of it to release the liquid from the top of the...
It puts me in mind of that thing about... I'm sure there was a thing... I've been watching The Wire, that's what it is. It's in America, they do the... where there was laws about you couldn't drink on the street, and so on like corners where people used to hang out. They'll actually just, well, real simple. I'm not drinking. This is a bottle in, in a paper bag, so no one knows what it is. These two things are very clearly not linked, but it's almost, because I've had that narrative, that they've almost gone, we're putting it in a paper bag, but we're going to clearly label it as beer as well. And that's completely defeat the point.
I also am looking on their Instagram. They have a lot of like shots of pouring the beer into some sort of like saucepan. So maybe it's very good for cooking with.
Oh, I can definitely.
Someone's going to have to try this and let us know.
Yeah,
are you good for like a cherry pie? Something
like,
to reduce it down with that would be quite nice.
That could be nice, wouldn't it? It's a cherry pie.
I can definitely believe it. Yeah.
I guess last thing to do is numbers on Instagram. They have 680 followers, so not doing
modest.
Shall we well that way.
680.
Yeah, not that great. And Twitter, they don't even have one, so I won't talk about it. Obviously,
has Elon Musk had his way?
They're not doing. Yeah. Mate, you're so topical tonight. What's going on?
Yeah.
You're like, I was ahead of the news.
And that's all we have time for this week's episode of the I'll Try That podcast. And so from me, Joe, Rich,
Barber,
and Simo,
goodbye. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram,
Twitter,
I'll try that podcast.com,
and watch us on YouTube.
Goodbye now.